units taking part in relief work now in New Orleans, but their role limited by a 19th century law that restricts the operations of our troops on American soil. My guest is Robert Kaplan. He's the author of an important new book, Imperial Grunts, The American Military on the Ground. He's also correspondent for the Atlantic Monthly. Robert, why do you support the idea? First, congratulations on the book.
Thank you.
A terrific, and as I said, important book. But why do you support the idea of the U.S. military taking a greater role?
Because we have seen in recent years the militarization of disaster relief already. The Marines and the Navy did 70% of the tsunami relief effort. Disaster relief is like combat. It's about quick insertion, Lou, access, establishing security once you're on the ground. It's about a logistics tale. And in terms of security, remember, even after an earthquake, after a flood, security breaks down, even in the most civilized countries. It's got to be reestablished. And the U.S. military has been emerging quietly as the world's most sophisticated relief organization.
The fact is, Honore, Clark are two of the principal names there. Strzok, Blum, even in terms of the National Guard. Those are the four big names. The controversy surrounding some others. But those are the four names we've turned to. All generals.
Right. Particularly the National Guard. I've gotten emails from National Guardsmen that I was embedded with on the Afghan-Pakistan border. They're doing exactly the same thing in New Orleans. They're doing presence patrols, hunting down what they call quote-unquote bad guys with night vision goggles and M4s. They say it's the same challenge as in Afghanistan.
And also with the shovel and moving material and supplies as well.
Right. War is all about logistics.
All about logistics.
And so is disaster relief.
And proximity.
Yes.
The U.S. military, as you point out so articulately in your book, the U.S. military is far-flung with our special operations forces conducting operations in 60 to 70 countries at any time.
Any week. And most of those operations are disaster relief or humanitarian in nature.
You've got, and while that is somewhat satisfying to those who would be critical of an imperial America, it is imperialism by any definition, but you've got an interesting construction of it that I think it makes it more palatable even to those liberals who would be violently critical. That's
right. This summer in Algeria, I saw an operation across the whole swath of sub-Saharan Africa that was imperial in nature. It was classic imperialism, but no liberal could be opposed because you had Army Green Berets training select battalions of a whole number of African nations. And what were they training them for? For possibilities like future interventions for future Darfurs.
And let's just take a look at the map up here, some of the countries that where you're traveling with U.S. troops. But just to look at that, and that's only a small sampling.
Oh, yes.
Everywhere from Colombia to Mongolia down to Indonesia. And speaking of Indonesia, as you point out, Abu Sayyaf, the radical Islamist